Good morning, it's UPB here from OptionMillionaires.com. It is now December. Welcome to December. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Look at Tesla. I brought up Tesla last week. Private tweeted some 120 calls when the stock was down at about 117. Right about here, and you can see the move it's made, hitting up to 130 before pulling back late in the day on Friday. I was talking about this actually prior to making this call. I was talking about the stock heading back to the $135 range. Anyway, if you bought the calls when I sent out that private tweet at OptionMillionaires.com at $1.20, which is when I bought them, that was the price I bought them at, they ended up hitting $10.40 up here. 2 days later, $10.40. So the math on that's pretty simple. If you bought 4 options at $4.80, they were worth over $4,000 2 days later. That's what we talk about when we're trading stock options. Look at the stock, pulled back perfectly, hit support, and then you can see the longer term perspective. I was talking about the $135 level, the initial resistance, pulled back, resistance again before breaking higher, pulled back, then acted as support back in August, then broke to new all-time highs. That's why the 135 level is so important for Tesla as we come back up to it, as I said it would earlier last week. And we traded for that. So I think Tesla's going to come up to this $135 level, maybe pull back a little bit, and then thrust through it, because I think Tesla's hitting new all-time highs. Heading into 2014 is going to be a $200 stock. The headwinds that we've seen recently will be forgotten as the momentum starts to pick up. Talking about momentum, remember when I talked about Apple, when it was hitting all-time highs. Remember at the end of 2012, 11 into 2012, when it went up seemingly every day? Well, here we are. Every day, 3 days in a row. Actually, I was talking about this a little over a week ago. I said Apple, and if you want to zoom in a little bit, you can look at my video. I was talking about this little pink line here saying it's acting as support, and I said this was a beautiful bull flag. It was going to break to the upside, and oh boy, did it ever. Had you bought the $535 calls, which is what I was talking about, when I made the video a little while ago, those calls were down at about 40 cents. They closed at $25 the other day. Huge move for Apple. You see, from a longer term perspective, just love Apple. Talked about this back late in the spring, early summer, talking about how the stock's ready, poised to make move to new all-time highs. And you can see why. 2003 broke out, bull flag, broke out, another flag, W bottom here, breaking out to the upside. You can see how I'm following it up. Stock's going to make new all-time highs coming up. And you can see volume actually is not really as high as it was back in 2009, but nothing to worry about here. As you can see, we're well above the support line at about 460, and I think a lot of people still bearish on Apple. Yeah, call me crazy, but that's what I think is going to happen. The stock's going to head new all-time highs in the near future. How about Google? I was talking about Google heading over $1,000 a while ago, and then boy did it ever, broke out on earnings, remains above support. I think it's going to be 1100, 1150 stock before year's end. You can see the long-term consolidation pattern is broken out of to the upside. The channel, boom, to the upside for S&P 500, which I'm going to bring up next, kind of mirrors what's happening with Google. And you can see we have a long-term channel here for Google. Look at the S&P 500 ETF. I'm sorry, I got a little ahead of myself, but I'll look at the long-term chart here, and you can see same thing, kind of a channeling here. We had the internet bubble, right? We started out in '93 with a beautiful flagpole. The internet bubble, again, the financial crisis, all of this in the confines of this channel, and then finally breaking out to the upside. This is a bull flag, moving to new all-time highs, and I brought this up just when we broke this level here on this bull flag in this channel, saying we're going to break new all-time highs, and we have. Amazing, isn't it? And we continue to chug higher, and the bears and the pundits calling for a market crash continue to call for downside. If you go to the blog at OptionMillionaires.com, I mock them. I talked about, and you bring it up. If I go to Twitter and I talk about a market crash, I get 5 times the more traffic than I do if I talk about just a slow melt up of equities. Everyone likes to see a train wreck. So anyway, every dip since the low that we saw back in 2009 is a buying opportunity, and you can see all these yellow lines here, that yellow circles that I put in, beautiful V bottoms. Okay, starting especially back in November, the Abenomics low I like to talk about. It continues on from there. We had the sequester, the debt ceiling. We had Cyprus. Remember Cyprus? Cyprus was supposed to crash the market. I could go on. You can go to all my videos. I talk about this endlessly for the last year and a half, 2 years. Quantitative easing. Come on. I was one of the first people to Q infinity and beyond. Yeah, I was the first one to put the Buzz Lightyear icon up to represent where the market is headed. When I talked about the market going higher, everyone laughed at me. Okay? We have the Heisenberg indicator, which has never been wrong. Everybody laughs at it. They like to see the Hindenburg omen. They're like, oh, Hindenburg omen. Yeah, that's the place to be, folks. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get a market crash. That was when it was at S&P 500. It was at 165. Yeah, that's worked out great for you. So let's move into some more charts, and you can see the volatility index is tracked here. Short-term futures, the VXX, which recently did another reverse split. That's to get the price of the ETF higher, the ETN here in this case. And you can see the long-term 5-year chart. If you bought VXX and went long at 7,500, it is now worth $45. Oh, God. Honey, let me just buy one. Yeah, I mean, just destroyed. It's basically representative of volatility in the market. If you want to look at a post at optionmillionaires.com I wrote about 2 years ago called The VIX is in, and you'll understand why VXX is trading lower, continues to trade lower, but the bond market is really where it's at right now. This is what's going to tell you, and you can look very simply, if you want to look at a way to track it here, to TLT. TLT iShares 20-year bond ETF, which was pretty much flat on Friday. You can see it's a topping pattern here. We'll see if it breaks down. Support is at 99. It's taking a little longer than I thought it would, but I think ultimately it's going to drop. That will imply higher interest rates, and that could be the wrench that goes in the cog of the Space Lease rocket, sends markets lower. But we'll see what happens. I think we're good. Clear sailing until the end of the year, and we'll see Janet Yellen takes over in January. Maybe we'll see bonds. Of course, they're not going to end their printing orgy, which will still put a bid behind bonds, which you could see us break back over this $105 level. Something to keep an eye on, though, and we can look at some of the commodity-based stocks. How about FCX? FCX, to me, Goldman Sachs actually removed its buy rating on it recently. I think it's going to head back down to the $27 level. And you can see some of the gold stocks, and this is the GDX, which tracks some of the gold miners, is just about at historic lows here that goes all the way back to 2009. We broke below it. I mean, this is very bearish. See this candle here? This is very, very bearish. Anyone who's telling me, oh, there's going to be a bounce, gold is going to bounce. Yeah, look at this. A significant break of long-term support. We tried a couple times over the last 4 months, finally broke to the downside. GDX is heading lower. That means you could take some of these gold stocks like GG. It's going to roll over, and you can see back to 2001, it's a $2.50 stock. That's where we might be headed with some of these gold stocks. So keep an eye on it. You can trade it with a popular, highly liquid stock like FCX, which is going to head to the downside as commodities continue to get mauled in this centrally planned, manipulated marketplace where there's no risk. So there's no reason to buy gold. And we're going to have commodity prices pull back a little bit. We have, how about PriceSmart? This is a play on Costco, which has been breaking out to the upside. Made money on it initially. I sold out of some of it, but this is another stock. We got to watch this going out longer term. Something I just wanted to bring up because you can see the chart. And you can see a lot of these stocks, people talk about a big bubble in the marketplace, and some of these stocks, that's what we want to look for. When interest rates ultimately do start to rise and we see demand start to wane, and we have that excess money that the Federal Reserve and Ben Bernanke wants you to be putting into risky assets finally get sucked out of the marketplace. Some of these stocks, like PSMT, is going to pull back. But until that time, it's buy. How about Target? Target, we had Black Friday come out, and you can see Target's been a long-term consolidation. You could draw some lines here, support resistance, but looks poised to break out to new all-time highs. We could start that run possibly this Monday, the start of this week, and how about Amazon, which is just about at all-time highs? Hit it on Friday. You can see $1.70, up 1.79%, 393. Looks like it's ready to break the $400 level. And all the shorts continually talking about how this company that's made a penny a profit per quarter is just not deserved of this $393, almost $394 price. But of course, keeps heading higher. So somebody's, it's funny. You can say, you talk negatively about a stock all you want, but the money in the marketplace is telling you where the stock's headed, and it continues to head higher. So that's Amazon. All right, 2BB here from OptionMillionaires.com. So we can continue to look for a slow melt up in the market. We have the volatility index slowly melting lower. The place to be still remains stocks. Until that story and that thesis changes, we at OptionMillionaires.com will be buying the high beta calls. We'll be letting you know via private Twitter like we did this past week with Tesla. Tesla, we're looking for a move to 135, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right, I'll see you in the chat room at OptionMillionaires.com. UPB here. Goodbye.